All right, so this is Sue Moulton. I'm going to mute everybody that is on at the moment. We are doing serious or curious. And so I'm going to screen share with you, and we are going to just do a little introductory about a 4-week series that we're going to be starting next week. It's going to run consecutively, and I just wanted to tell you what's involved, and then you guys can decide, are you in or are you out? So the call is to give you that information to determine whether or not you think for the next 4 weeks you can commit to being on the call, doing the homework, and moving your business ahead. So we're at the beginning of a year, and we're setting goals. I had you guys, if you're on the goal setting call, we had you set some goals, and then this is going to give you the actual action steps on achieving your goals this year. So let's just go. So, whoop, dates are wrong. I forgot to update them. So if you're having any trouble with your audio or with your video when you're on Zoom, it should look like this without any lines through the audio or the video. That way we'll be able to hear you and see you. I do have you muted at the moment, but I will tell you guys can unmute, and you guys can unmute and ask questions as we go. Just mute yourself afterwards so that there's no background noise. That way the recording stays clean. We're going to be uploading the recording to the units. So the way it's going to work is week 1. This is me, for those who don't know me. I'm going to be doing the first series. So the whole first week is all going to be about bookings. So if you don't have the bookings that you need for the class, we're going to work on how to get those bookings that first week. Once you have the bookings, Jen Mitchell here is going to be doing the host coaching series, and she's going to teach you, once you have the bookings, what the heck do you do with the bookings? How do you have a successful show? And then week 3, Jen is going to do the recruiting section on that. This is a picture from National Conference. For those of you who didn't get to go last year, you definitely want to go this year. And then the last week will be, okay, now that we have some team members on our team, we've gotten some bookings, we've gotten some recruits, what do we do with them? How do we start them strong? What do we start them with? So that's what the 4 weeks are about. So I'm going to chat about the expectations of the class. So we want you to have 8 bookings on your calendar. So if you don't already have 8 bookings for January, which I don't have 8 bookings yet for January, so don't panic. We're going to give you that whole first week too. We're going to give you a bunch of ideas to help you get up to your 8 bookings, okay? So we're going to give you things that you're going to try that week. So it's important that you're on time for the classes. You can jump on 5 minutes early. That would be good. All homework needs to be complete by Thursday of this same week. So Sunday is when the calls will be, and then Thursday you need to report your homework to your director. So if Jen Mitchell is your director, you're going to report it to her. If Melissa Lane is your director, you're going to report it to her, Wendy, Christine, Heidi, etc. So you must schedule a reach out call with your director for 15 minutes of accountability, either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, whatever works for you and your director. You need to schedule that. And the follow-up call is just going to be reviewing your homework and what you had trouble with, and some ideas on how to overcome that. So if things didn't go well, that's what the call is about. Don't skip the call because you're like, oh, it didn't work. Just call your upline and let's talk about it. You're allowed to miss 1 live call. Now, we're recording these for the future because we're going to have people watch the call and then call us back. But for this round, we want you to be on live so that if you have questions, we can record those at the end as well. And you must attend your team meetings every month. So we have a meeting on the first Tuesday of every month that Sue Superstars and the Incredibles do. If you are part of Jen's team, she is now doing her own team meetings, and you can attend her team meeting, but you have to be a part of your monthly team meetings because that's where the magic happens. That's where you're going to learn the skills that you need to progress. Once you've completed all the assignments, you'll be added to the next event on the following week, and then that call will be given to you so that you can join in the following call, okay? So you have to do your homework. So I want you to be thinking about, do you want to promote to a director? Or maybe you want to just keep going and promote to an advanced director. And we're going to talk about what those 2 are. But you get these lovely spatulas at National Conference when you promote, when you walk across stage. So What you do today in your business is going to be showing up 30, 60, and 90 days later. And what I mean by that is back in November, when we were super duper duper busy, that's our busiest month all year long, November usually is, I didn't do a great job with my follow-ups. And guess what? It's showing up in January. So you really have to stay consistent with your everyday to-do stuff, your business follow-ups. And if you don't, you'll see the ups and downs of your business reflect that type of consistency. So keep in mind what you're doing now is really going to rock your March when the new catalog comes out. So don't give up. It takes a while to get an airplane off the ground, a little bit more fuel than it would take if you were just coasting. But once you get coasting, then it doesn't take as much energy to keep coasting. So week 1, what are you going to be learning? We're going to teach you to prospect, which is finding business outside of shows. Week 1, we're also going to be talking about how do you get bookings from shows, whether they're live shows or virtual. I know that a majority of our team is virtual, so we'll be addressing 90% of what we're talking about to virtual, but we will not leave out those of you who still do live cooking shows. We're going to teach you how to book from out and about. When you are out at a restaurant, when you are out at the grocery store, how do you have conversations with people and turn those conversations around to a booking? Where do you even find them? And once you find the people, like how do you secure those and what words do you use? You're going to learn all of that on week 1. So if that interests you, then you're going to want to mark off the next 4 Sundays on your calendar. So you're going to have 8 bookings on your calendar. You're going to be on time. You're going to complete your homework. You're going to have your schedule call. You're going to not miss any classes. You're going to be on your team meeting, and you're going to follow through, right? So there are 7 ways to better yourself at prospecting, and our goal is going to be 8. So I want you to know that we are going to work through each word choices and why it's important to have 8 and how Pampered Chef has been very successful this past year. We've added more Pampered Chef consultants to our organization with the every 4 add 1 more. And that means for every 4 shows that you host, a host or a guest in those shows are going to be interested in the business opportunity. And we want you to learn what to say and how to welcome them onto your team. The goal is to hold 8 shows and have 2 team members every month. And if you do that, you're going to promote to a director in 90 days. And that's called fast tracking. And Melissa Lane was our first fast track, but I'm sure won't be our last fast track. I expect quite a few fast tracks this year. Honestly, now that she's broke that glass window, I think that we're going to see a lot more of that happening this year. So we're going to be focusing on your calendar. So I'm going to stop screen sharing for a second. I want you guys to go ahead and unmute yourself, and I want to see if you guys have any questions about what it is that you are going to be learning over the first 4 weeks. Any questions yet?
No questions. I have a hard time picturing myself as having recruits under me. I think that's probably my biggest roadblock to myself.
Okay, so tell me, what about that makes it hard for you to picture?
I can't visualize. I just can't visualize getting the yes. I've gotten the maybes. I have gotten a few maybes.
Okay.
But I can't visualize that, okay, yes, I want to join you.
Okay, great. And I'm glad that you're being honest about that, Nancy, because I honestly, and one of the things that I'll talk about and I'll show you in just a second is the belief triangle. And it's super important when you see this, that, hold on just a second, I want to pull up 2 different images of the belief triangle because I totally changed the triangle around. Well, I heard a speaker one time at national conference, and they talked about what you do when you are like exercising or things like that. You know, how are you going to improve? So they said, first you have to believe it. And then that will lead you to doing the action. And then the action will actually bring the result, and that will bring you more belief. And so this is a really popular business triangle that they talk about. But I want to tell you that when I started it, I actually turned this whole thing clockwise backwards one, because I didn't believe, just like you, Nancy, I didn't believe I could do it, but I did the actions anyway. I did what my mentor, Karen Batty, said, do this, Sue. And I went, okay, I did this, and then it worked. And then she said, do this, and it worked. And so then it started to give me belief, like, oh my gosh, it works. And so then I did the action, I got the results, I started to actually believe it might work. And then I did the action again, I got more results, and I actually believed. And then I promoted to a director, and I still didn't feel like I should be a director, honestly, as I was a director. But I kept doing the action, I kept getting more results, and eventually I doubled my team from 5 to 10 to 20 to 40. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I really do know what I'm doing. So sometimes, Nancy, we're going to believe for you, and we're going to ask you to just walk out on faith and do the actions that we ask you, because honestly, this business is a math game. It's all about the numbers. We are going to teach you that every 15 or 20 people that you reach out to, one of them is going to probably book a show. Now, you'll find your averages, and we'll talk about this next week, by, we're going to keep track, we're going to keep a log about who we reach out to. And when you do that, you're going to start to see an average. Oh, for every 6 people I talk to, 2 actually answer the phone if I call. And of those 2, you know, only 1 is interested in anything. So I need to talk to 12 people to get 4 people to answer the phone. Like, you'll start to see patterns. So the other thing I want to talk about is the whole purpose of learning these things is learning how to move from sales into leadership. Whether you call it director or leader or team leader, your first person on your team, you are going to earn overrides. And this is what I'm going to show you is the career plan. And with the career plan, it's pretty amazing when you realize, compared to a regular job, what you can get for potential in this business. So if you, Nancy, get your business up to a place where you are selling, maybe you're doing 8 or 10 shows a month, and you're selling $2,400 in sales, whether it's live or virtual. And then you just add 1 person to your team, and she's only doing half of what you're doing. She's not as motivated as you. She's doing maybe 3 or 4 shows a month, whether they're virtual or 2 live shows is probably what this average is here. You're going to give yourself a 6.3% raise over what you're already making here, because you're going to get 1% more on what you sell and 1% more on your team sales. So that's called a senior consultant. Now, once you have a second person on your team, so Chris here is half as motivated as Pat, who's half as motivated as you. So literally, they're not even selling as much as you. Chris is doing 1 show a month. Pat's probably doing 2 or 3 a month, and you're probably doing 8, maybe 10. So maybe you're doing 2 block parties a month. You're going to get a 14.5% raise. So it may not seem like a lot with just an $80 override, but look at how fast that multiplies when you start getting into a director. So a director is when you have 5 team members on your team. So they can be 4 personal and 1 second generation. They can be 3 personal and 2 second generation, or they can all be recruited by you. So you're going to get 118% more as a director, still selling the same $2,400 a month as you would if you were just selling. So learning early on in your business how to do your job, honestly, part of the host rewards is a kit credit. Hostesses need to know that they can use $25 or $50 of their free products towards the cost of their kit. And so we are going to teach you this whole system. And trust us, if you just reach out to each of your hostesses every time, and you know what? I have hostesses that I've reached out to that I have done live cooking shows, and one of the girls, Patty, I had done 6 shows with her. And every single time I did a show with her, I asked her, so Patty, when are you going to join my team? You know I want you on my team. No, I'm not going to do this, Sue. I'm just going to be a host. I'd rather be a host. But guess what? Next time Patty hosted a show, Patty, when are you going to join my team? So she finally joined my team. So there are lots of people, like I'm doing some hostesses this week and next week that I've done multiple shows with. Guess what? I'm going to ask them again because you don't know what has changed in their lives. I mean, Kim Burke is a perfect example. She is retired. She wasn't supposed to retire till next year, and she got an early retirement package. So she started Pampered Chef in order to prep for retirement. And then she ended up retiring a whole year early. Like, you don't know what's happening in people's lives, you know, a divorce, a marriage, a retirement, college loans, unexpected pregnancy, a wedding in their family. So you have to ask every time to make sure that they are giving the opportunity for them to decide whether they want extra income. So my goal is to help a handful of you guys that really want it to earn the extra income, because when I started for cute shoes. That's all I needed. And now I earned my largest commission check this year in November, and it was the first time ever, but I had a commission check that was over $10,000 in 1 month. In 1 month. So that was pretty amazing. So that I never thought was possible when I started for Cute Shoes years ago. And I was only doing 1 show a month for 7.5 years. It wasn't until 7 or 8 years ago that I decided that I wanted to be a director, and it only took me 3 months to promote to a director, and that's all it'll take you guys, and you guys will get bonuses if you do that. So there are benefits of becoming a director. You're going to be able to get reduced trip points to go on the cruise this year, okay? There are director retreats and leadership seminars. There's a seminar for upper level advanced directors and above at home office this year called Empower. You get a commission increase on your own sales. You get a commission increase on your team sales. You get $10 for every person that is active selling $150 or more as well. You're also available to get Pampered Chef leads from the lead system, and you earn, the fast track is a little bit different now, but you get PC dollars when your consultants recruit and qualify. You get $250 in Pampered Chef dollars when you promote to a director. My favorite part is the products. You get all the free products. You get a whole box of them as a director. And if you sell at a different level as a consultant, you get double as much. So you get all of the products for that. Every year, you get $100 towards professional development. And there are specific things that you can use it for. A bunch of us are trying to figure out specifically what Pampered Chef has allowed you to take for classes so that you can use that. You get to walk stage. It's really fun. If you like recognition, you get special trainings that are director and above. And you get all kinds of fast track stuff if you do it in your first 90 days. And the fast track rewards have changed this year, which is kind of cool. Whoops, let me just get those for you. Fast track. So for those of you who are fairly new on here and you're not familiar with the new fast track program, this is the new fast track program. So when you start and you sell your first $500 in your first 30 days, you're going to get the ceramic egg cooker and a spatula. When you sell your first $12.50, you're going to get the nonstick fry pan. If you keep selling and ask your hostess every 4 shows if they want to join your team, you're going to ask everyone, but usually 1 in 4 will join. And you keep connecting with the customers that are at your shows, and you're going to ask them. Just an FYI, one time I had at my show, and I just said the words, hey, so if you're thinking about joining my team, on the back of the catalog, there's a picture, or the inside back of the catalog, there's a picture of the different kits that are available. Some of those things are probably on your wish list anyway. If you would like to give Pampered Chef a 30-day try and do 4 to 6 shows, you can keep everything that's in that kit, earn some extra income, and some bonuses. If you'd like to do that, just write small, medium, or large on your order form, and when you come up for checkout, we'll talk. And I had a lady just write large kit right on her order form, and she signed up right there at the show. So it doesn't need to be this big discussion or this big thing. They just got to give it a try. So then you're going to keep filling your calendar with parties so that you'll have people to talk to. And when you hit 2,500, you're going to get the stainless steel skillet. And then you're going to keep connecting. And when you hit $5,000, you're going to get the knife block set. So I recommend new consultants start looking right now for fundraisers, because those are usually large parties. And then you keep filling your calendar and you just keep going up and up and up. And then Fast Track, you're going to get $500 cash bonus when you promote to Fast Track. If you stay at the director level, you're going to get another $500. And if you help a friend on your team promote to a Fast Track and you go to advance, you get a $1,000 bonus. So there's a lot of things that are available to you guys if you follow through on this program. And we're going to walk you through each step. You're going to have some little homework so you can actually practice the skill. And the one thing I want you guys to know is that as a leader, myself, Jen, and all the others that are a part of Pampered Chef, we only can improve as much as we personally develop ourselves. Okay, so reading development books, listening to podcasts from either Home Office Pampered Chef. They have coffee calls, coffee talks, and I'll post those on your way to and from work. You want to keep your mind in the game. You want to keep your mind when you get discouraged, because you will get discouraged, people. Okay, it's common. We're in direct sales. Don't be an island to yourself. Be a part of the team. Reach out to your director. Reach out to your co-sellers and talk to them if you're having difficulty or you're feeling down. That's when you need us the most, is when you're not feeling like, woohoo, I just got a booking. You're like, oh my God, I've reached out to 30 people today and I've gotten no bookings. So,
yeah. Oh, crap. Avery and I are in the same room. Let me leave. We got massive feedback there.
Yeah, I heard that.
So what I was going to say is, when I first started, am I still feedback big time?
Nope, you're good. You're good.
Okay. When I first started, I don't know if you remember this, Sue, it was the first day I ever did any parties, and I did 2 live parties in one day, and I called Sue and I said,
I'm quitting.
I'm quitting.
I do remember that. You're like, I'm quitting. I'm like, okay, let's have a discussion.
Yep.
So it's true. You have to call upline. And Emily Schumann's been on my team like from the very beginning. And one time she was having a really difficult time and she was telling her husband about it. And he was being supportive. Now we all don't have supportive husbands, but some of us do. And she had, and he was trying to help her. And she was like, I'm sorry, babe, I just have to call Sue. So she called me, and sometimes I've got the magic words and sometimes I don't, but sometimes you just need to hear it from somebody else. So I'm going to give you a real life last Sunday example. I was invited to a director meeting in Manchester, and while I was there, one of the top sellers that's in the room other than myself, Michelle Weinstein, had heard me say that my calendar wasn't full, that I only had 2 live shows and 2 virtual shows in January. And she was like, yeah, right. And I was like, no, I do. And so after, she pulled me aside and she's like, are you serious? Do you really only have 4 shows on your calendar? I'm like, Michelle, I only have 4 shows on my calendar. I am freaking out. Yeah. And she was like, oh, I feel so much better. She's like, I was wondering what was wrong with me, because she's a top seller too. Like, I sold 120,000 last year. Jen sold like 145,000 last year. We have empty calendars sometimes too, people. The difference between the top sellers and the top achievers in this company is that we don't stop. It is unacceptable. We have to fill our calendars. So when it gets tough, we might take a break. We might take a personal, couple hours and go have a cup of tea or go for a hike or a walk or listen to a podcast, but then we get back at it because it's not optional. If you want to achieve your dreams and you want next year to be different than this year, the difference between what happened last year and where you are financially last year and where you want to be next year is whether or not you give up on yourself. And when you feel like giving up on yourself, you need to call one of us, because it's our job to say, okay, what have you tried? What do you think is next? What have we talked about? What can we do different? And we're going to give you some new ideas. And sometimes It's just part of the regular conversations. I was chatting, and here's an example with Emily, and she was having difficulty with her fundraisers. And I said, how about you reach out to everybody that, you know, placed an order on the fundraiser, because you get lots of different people groups, and just call them to thank them for their order. And while you're on the phone with them, ask them, would you like to know what's new with the Pampered Chef? And that gives you an opening to start talking about the new specials. So we're going to give you some suggestions and some ideas that might work. And sometimes they won't. And that's okay. We'll give you new ideas. Okay, anybody have any questions? Okay, no questions. I'm going to stop the